1 X-ray, taking off runway 26 west departure.
So we're in Elstree, Southwest, UK. We're in the Beechcraft Bonanza G36 today. I love flying this little general aviation aircraft. And we are going to Gloucestershire. Maybe a 25 or 30 minute flight, maybe 35 minutes. And of course I'll shorten the video so that you don't have to watch every step of the way. Alright, so let's jump in the cockpit. I got just a couple things I want to set up and then we'll be on our way. So let's set our cruising altitude for 2,700 feet. It's going to be a low flight today, and let's get there by using flight level change, and we're going to climb out at 110 knots. Okay, and so we're on GPS, that's good. Let's set the heading bug to be on our runway heading. And so when we flip to the autopilot, we'll go to heading mode first, and then we'll switch over to nav mode. And I think maybe that's really all we're going to do to get started here. It's requiring a little left rudder. Gear up. And autopilot selected. And I'm going to go ahead and switch on the nav mode. We're coming up on our 2,700 feet elevation. So we're actually flying on a heading, but once we connect up with our course here, that'll switch over to just GPS. And this is the Navigraph chart of our route today. If I click up here, I'll get a moving map. So this is our location. Just put in a waypoint here. It's just an airport that we'll fly over. This is a VOR that we'll also fly over. And then we'll put in a our nav approach once we get out into the flight a little further. Early morning in the UK. It's a little layer of low-lying clouds. So we're about 6 miles from our first waypoint, about 3 minutes. We'll be making a slight turn to the left here. I also like flying the VTOL Bonanza. When I first started in X-Plane, I put in a lot of hours in the VTOL Bonanza, practicing some precision IFR approaches. I must have flown from Chino, California to Long Beach 100 times practicing approaches. I might be exaggerating, but it was a lot. And it's a fun airplane to fly. Four minutes to our next waypoint. We'll make another shallow left-hand turn. This is the approach plate for the approach that the RNAV approach that I'm going to program into the autopilot here in just a second after we make our left-hand turn on this next waypoint, and I'll go ahead and program that in. I also use a little nav maps. I love both of those tools. But SimBrief and Navigraph charts are very hard to beat. I highly recommend it. Alright, so we're going to be turning left here. So let's program a procedure, and we're going to select approach. And we're going to do an RNAV approach. And we're going to use that LAPQ transition. I'm not going to worry about minimums today. It's a bright day. We're on VFR. And I'm going to go ahead and activate that approach. 3 minutes to our waypoint when we'll make our left-hand turn and start entering our approach. So we made our left-hand turn, and the vertical navigation took us down to 2,500 feet, which is the altitude required to be at for this waypoint, our first waypoint. I'm going to go ahead and activate approach mode. Activated. And we've been captured now on the glide path. That nose up and down action happens when you are captured with the glide path. So the autopilot system now will take us right down to the runway. And I'll let the autopilot fly it down fairly close to the runway just to see how it does, and then I'll take it off autopilot and hand fly it in. The last time I flew this airplane and took the autopilot off, the nose took a big dip, and I don't know if it was because of the trim, and I've never really been able to figure out why I did that. The trim doesn't look bad, so it should be okay. And we're now going through 1,600 feet, and we have speeded up considerably as we're in our descent. So slow the plane down dramatically here. We'll get down to about 120 knots, and then I will lower the gear and we'll start applying flaps. 1,150 feet. And there's 120 knots. Gear down. First notch of flaps. Feet. Second notch of flaps. Final notch of flaps. 2 red and 2 white. That's what we like to see. Yeah, see that? When I took it off when I took it off autopilot. Look at that. Well, so when I took it off autopilot, the same thing happened. I wonder what is causing that. So we're dead. Maybe we can come back to life and try this again another day.
Maybe we could live without the wisecracks.